Welcome to our second session of our second workshop on conditional indirect effects. This time we'll be talking about mediated moderation, and we'll show you how to conduct an analysis on mediated moderation models. In the prior session, we went through the theory behind moderated or mediated moderation models. Now we'll get our data and run some analysis. So this is the agenda for today. We'll be testing for mediated moderation models. And we'll go through all these steps as we progress. So the first step is actually conducting a traditional test of moderation on the DV. The second step is conducting a traditional moderation test on the mediator. So the only difference is that we are changing our dependent variable. Instead using our distal dependent variable, we are using the mediator as a dependent variable in our step 2. And then in step 3, we will conduct an analysis using process, and specifically the model 8 on the process macro developed by Hayes. If you don't have that process macro installed on your computer, this is a good time to install it. So you can download this process macro and then install on your computer. We need that macro to run this analysis. And then we will conduct a bootstrapping analysis. That's our step 4. And in step 5, we'll look at the index of moderated mediation. That index is something new that Hayes created for us. So there is a paper, and you can download this paper by clicking on the link in the description of this video. So feel free to go there and download that paper if you want to know more about the index of moderated mediation. So let's do it. Let's run an analysis. And this is the model that we'll be testing today. We'll keep it constant with our first workshop. So we'll be using job meaningfulness and job performance. What we are theorizing here is that meaningfulness influences job performance, and that relationship is a function of the organization identification of the employee. And then we theorize that this interaction term is explained, the effects of this interaction term is explained by job engagement. Let's do it. So the first step is testing for the interaction term and the effects of that interaction on job performance. Again, this is a very similar, it's a simple test, and you've done this in one of our prior sessions in which we walked through the moderation models. So if you are not familiar, if you need more information on moderations, go to that particular session in our workshop 1. Okay? So here we'll go to Analyze, Regression, and again click on the process macro by Hayes. Enter the information on this screen. And we have as our dependent variable performance, as independent variable meaningfulness, as our moderator organization identification. Here we needed to select the correct model, which is model number 1. Go to Options and select the mean center for products. That's important to avoid multicollinearity issues, and also print the covariance matrix. Then click on OK. So this is the information that you get from that analysis, and we'll be looking at, and remember, we'll be looking at the relationship of the interaction term and our dependent variable performance in this case. Okay, we find that the interaction term is significant. And then you'll scroll down the output file, and you'll see that for high levels of organization identification, the direct effect of job meaningfulness on job performance is significant. But for low levels of organization identification, no, there is 0 in the confidence interval. And then we are ready for step number 2. And for step number 2, we conduct the same moderation test. But now, instead of using job performance as an outcome, we use job engagement, our mediator. You run the same test, go to process, enter all the variables, but again, instead of using job performance as our dependent variable, as our outcome, we use our mediator, so job engagement. Don't forget to select model number 1 to conduct moderation analysis. The same set of outputs that you want, okay? Important again to select mean center for products and to print the covariance matrix. Click on OK. I will not show the output for this particular model because it should be similar to the one that I showed you just before when we had the dependent variable as being job performance. That's the same way that you should look at the output. Look for the interaction term. If that's significant, you start having initial support for your overall conditional indirect model. Now let's run model number 8, on process, that macro developed by Hayes. So now it is different. You needed to select number 8. Your model is model number 8. And you have job performance as your dependent variable, meaningfulness as your independent variable, engagement as your mediator, and you needed to select and enter organizational identification as your proposed moderator W. It's important to enter this variable in the W moderator, not in the Z or V or Q, because model number 8 requires your moderator to be moderator W. Here again. Yes, we keep it constant because we are adding an interaction term, so we needed to mean center the variables. Now you just double check that you have your moderators on both mediator and dependent variable. We do not have controls or covariates in this model, but if you have some in your own data set, it's important to partial out those variances from the mediator and from the dependent variable as well. Now click on OK, and you'll have the output file. The first thing that we do every single time that we run a model on process is double check the model number. So here is model number 8, which is good. We are probably getting the results that we want. At least we are conducting the analysis using the model that we need. So now let's walk through all these coefficients. First, the first thing that we look at is the relationship between the interaction term and our job engagement. We do find here that there is a significant relationship between this interaction term and engagement. P is less than 0.05. The second thing that we look, so this is the first and this is the second. The second thing that we look at is the relationship between our mediator and our dependent variable. So in this case, job engagement has a significant relationship with our dependent variable. Job performance, again, P is less than 0.05. In model number 8, we are controlling for the interaction term on the dependent variable. And this is our interaction 2 here. And we see that the effects of the interaction term, meaningfulness and organization identification on performance is not significant. P is not less than 0.05. You can see here that the interaction term is meaningfulness and organization identification. Similar to here, job meaningfulness times organization identification. That's the interaction term or interaction number 1. We are just labeling them differently because they are part of a different analysis in our model. Now, the next step is to look at the bootstrapping analysis. And we look at the mediator here. And we do find that the relationship of job meaningfulness on job performance via job engagement is significant for individuals high in organizational identification. Okay? So, and the reason that we know that this relationship is significant is because there is no zero in the confidence interval of our bootstrap analysis. But we also see that for the relationship between job meaningfulness and job performance via job engagement, for individuals low on organizational identification, that relationship is not significant because there is zero in the confidence interval of our bootstrap analysis. Okay? So we do find support for our conditional indirect effect model here. And finally, we look at the index of moderated mediation that was recently actually added to the process macro by Hayes. And again, there is a whole paper about what this coefficient or what this index is. You can download this paper by going to the description of this video. And we do find that the bootstrapping analysis for this index does not have zero. The confidence interval for that particular test does not have zero, more indication that we do have a conditional indirect effect, a significant conditional indirect effect. So in this session, we conducted an analysis and walked through all the steps of getting this model running. So we could find in this particular case that we do have a significant conditional indirect effect of job meaningfulness on job performance via our mediator job engagement, and that indirect effect changes as a function of the organizational identification level of our employees. Thank you.